Welcome to Bloodbath and Beyond. Today we review 3 from Hell. Free the 3.
Written and directed by Rob Zombie, starring Sheri Moon Zombie, Richard Brake, Bill Moseley, Sid Haig, Emilio Rivera, and Jeff Daniel Phillips. This is the third entry to the Firefly franchise. Shockingly enough, Otis, Captain Spaulding, and Baby have all survived the nasty shootout at the end of Devil's Rejects. They've been locked up for 10 years, and now it's time for them to escape and continue doing the devil's work. So what do we like? As with all Rob Zombie movies, I enjoy the way that everything looks and how gritty everything feels. Because the characters that we've come to love are just as psychotic, and all of their actions just make them absolute monsters.
And I really like the direction Rob Zombie went with this. We have the film kicking right off almost documentary style because you don't actually know if Captain Spaulding, Otis, and Baby did survive. And to go about and have this whole piece documenting the last 10 years was a very unique choice. And then it kicks off in the visualization of the documentary style with like the shot on video footage versus like the crisper, cleaner film is very evident, and it's a nice storytelling piece.
And of course, along with this comes Rob Zombie's flair. While a little toned back and reserved from the prior entries, we still have the transitions where like a shot will slide over, or you have like mirrored images with bright, vibrant lighting, but it doesn't happen as frequently. But his touch is still there.
This film also did a good job with keeping the kills impactful. Whenever someone does die on screen, we see it, whether it's a gunshot to the back of the head or like straight on. It's exactly how it was in Devil's Rejects. Anytime someone dies, it means something and it furthers the story. And he continues with his like unique way of doing things that I really like. I love when we have the contrasting kills. The slow motion with like the happy-go-lucky music, and what you're seeing on screen is absolute violence.
And there's a variety of kills. Well, we won't get into too many. I'm certain that everyone's gonna love Baby's bow and arrow. Which leads us to the characters. All of our characters are great.
Smell me.
No.
Everyone did an excellent job, but their characters have definitely changed over some time. Baby's been in solitary confinement for 10 years and she's absolutely nutty. She's not the happy-go-lucky girl that we know from the prior entries. She's a fucking basket case.
It's my rules or the Grim Reaper comes a rolling through in a big black Cadillac. Hey bitch, hop in! You dig?
I know you think that she was already a basket case, but now she's absolutely off the wall, and you don't know what the hell she's gonna do.
And Otis's character, like he's still the preacher that you're gonna love, but I feel as though he's become old. Like he's cranky, and I do like it.
Is it just me, or are these the greatest fucking beans on earth?
Once you tie in Richard Brake as the new member of the family, the banter and the comedy that goes between the two of them is very entertaining. It's almost like a Lethal Weapon style, with like the young pup coming up there and then the old timer just being like, I'm too old for this shit.
I'm doing all the fucking driving. I can hardly keep my fucking eyeballs open.
Well, excuse me for having night blindness. Having fucked up retinas is no picnic.
Almost everything that you enjoy from these characters in the past is here again. I also like the addition of Emilio Rivera. Most people would know him as Alvarez from Sons of Anarchy and Mayans. He plays Danny Trejo's son, and he's out to get revenge for his papa, along with his mass luchador gang members.
And if you pay close attention to this film, the cameos are great. Like, you're second guessing yourself a few times. Like, that looks like Dee Wallace, but the glasses, we can't really tell. Then we have Clint Howard.
After you, bozo.
There's just a lot of people in here that you wouldn't think would be in this movie, but they are. And their characters are really enjoyable.
Now, what didn't we like? I will say that I think Baby was a little over the top in this. But she was like a Harley Quinn style of crazy in this.
Oh, whoopee! I'd be Snow White in the forest, playing with all the animals.
Even Otis, you always see him and you know him as this unstoppable preacher. And in this film, it didn't feel like that. He didn't seem like he was in control. There's times where he's just like, I've got this. Don't worry, I'm gonna do the devil's work. But did you believe he was gonna do the devil's work? It just seemed more like a catchphrase than a statement.
Let's go get fucked up.
And do some fucked up shit.
Sis, what other kind is there?
It could be the way that he was shot when he was saying these lines, or just that his overall character was just kind of, like you said, he's kind of in that older stage and he just doesn't give much of a shit. For example, he lets Baby, who he knows is fucking out of control, he lets her just like walk outside by herself and just like, well, she's probably gone, and he doesn't give a shit. And that's not a thing that Otis would do.
I didn't mind the pacing of this movie. I thought it was okay, but how it was structured, I wasn't necessarily a fan. I thought we had a great introduction to the film with the documentary. Then we get into the meat. We get into the story, and everything seems to be going really good. And then the third act, or the new story, when they get into Mexico, I felt as though it was a different film altogether. It's like everything that we saw before that is its own film. And then we get these new characters in a new location without a full-length story arc. It's like they just hit reset, and instead of making a fourth film, we're just gonna take two films together and, you know, the characters, so we don't have to build it up.
That's exactly how I felt as well. I mean, I still liked both individual stories, but it felt exactly like that. Two individual stories that could have been stretched out in their own way and made into films. We've bitched about this in the past where we're like, don't stretch out a story if you don't need to. But in this case, they totally could have done two different movies, and everyone would have loved both of them. Now it's time for our final thoughts and ratings. 3 from Hell was a fun time. It felt like it belonged with the series because it includes all of our favorite characters doing what you love from the prior entries. It looks great, our characters are ruthless and brutal. However, the biggest downside is the fact that the prison scenes and the Mexican scenes are very divided, and it just could have been handled a little bit differently. I liked both aspects, and I think Richard Brake is an excellent addition to the crew. Baby, well, way more insane than usual. I liked most of the time, although I think some of the acting when she was trying to be over the top crazy was a little subpar, but Bill Moseley held everything down, and he knew she was also fucked up, and he would call her out on it, so that helps. Obviously, if you've seen House of a Thousand Corpses and Devil's Rejects, you need to watch this, and I don't think you're gonna be disappointed. So I'm gonna give this 3.5 grape sodas out of 5.
What flavor?
The one that's gonna give me the most buzz.
It's probably great.
At long last, we get another Firefly movie, and I think a lot of us were excited for this one. I just love these characters. Otis is one of my favorites. Adding Richard Brake brought a new type of chemistry, which I hope they continue with this, and we get another film with all of them, because there is a lot of potential there. And in the past, I've really praised Rob Zombie for his storytelling, and I've praised him for his cinematography. And yes, he nailed the cinematography in this one, but his story, I feel, is weaker only because it's two separate films. That's not saying I dislike this story. I really like how they told this with the warden's side, and I really like how they told this when they went into Mexico. It just should not be one movie. But if you're a fan of this franchise, it has everything you're looking for. Great characters, awesome kills, and it's just a lot of fun. So with that being said, I'm gonna give this film 3 cymbal-banging monkeys out of 5.
As always, thank you for watching. Like this video and comment below with your thoughts on the film if you've seen it. If you haven't and you do want to check it out, it is available now on Blu-ray from Lionsgate and Saban Films, and it link is in the description. And if this is your first time here, make sure you subscribe to the channel, stay updated with everything Bloodbath and beyond, and also check out the reviews that we've done for House of a Thousand Corpses, Devil's Rejects, and What Would You Do's for both of those.